Sorry about that, my Wi-Fi keeps dropping out, so just let me know if you can hear me and everything's all right, and then I'll get back to answering your questions. Yeah, so what I was starting on the first video before I interrupted was, okay, so I got asked a question: what's the difference between a cheat meal and a refeed? Okay, well, a refeed, okay, let's say for example, this would only really be used for someone that is in a massive calorie deficit or has been dieting for a long period of time. So let's say for example, hello Josh. So let's say for example, someone has been dieting for 12 weeks, they're about to get ready for a show. Then what I would do is I'll give them a refeed, just to bump their calories up a hell of a lot. And that could be something that's going to last all day. So it'd be 6 meals of 6 high carb meals on the refeed. Now a cheat meal usually is about 250 to 500 calories over what you usually eat. So let's say for example, you're eating 5 meals a day and your calories are around 2,500 calories. Well, let's say for example on the first 4 meals you have at 2,250 calories. A cheat meal would be roughly 250 to 500 calories over what you usually eat. So that cheat meal then could be worth 750 calories. So what I usually tend to do when someone is having a cheat meal, that will come from something like a burger and chips, and like a little dessert or a drink as well. So you want to have something that's got high protein as well, because that's going to make sure you stabilize blood sugar levels and we're getting a good amount of protein in. So the main difference between a cheat meal is something about 500 calories over what you usually do. A refeed is something that you'll only really specifically do if you're a bodybuilder in the last few weeks of your prep when calories are really low. The next question I got asked is, what is the difference? Well, is a protein shake good for breakfast? So a protein shake is fine for breakfast. There's no different. What I tend to do, okay, if somebody's struggling to eat a breakfast, then what I'll do first of all is get them to eat either a protein shake, or I'll get them to have something like a Greek yogurt with some berries or honey. These are a lot easier to digest and absorb, and they're a lot easier to get down. And if somebody's highly stressed as well, they're also going to struggle to eat a breakfast. And if you're not used to eating in the morning, you will also struggle to eat a breakfast. So it's always easier to start off with a whey shake or a Greek yogurt than what it would be something like eggs or something. So there's nothing bad about having a whey shake, and plus you're getting a good amount of protein in there as well. I got asked as well, again, what's the importance of water? Okay, so when you're having water, you've got to think your body's made up of water. It's made up 75% water. Your muscles are made up of water. So you want your muscles to be hydrated and full before you train. You want to get more out of the session. So what you want to do is make sure you're drinking around 3 to 5 litres of water a day, making sure that it's also one of the main things it's going to do is keep you the inflammation levels down, and it's going to keep the stress off your kidneys and your liver as well. Okay. So what is better, a carb-based diet or a high-fat diet? Okay, so a carb-based diet, okay, it would only be really work well for someone as a later stage of their prep, because the reason that would be is because they're going to be a lot leaner and be able to handle carbs. I wouldn't straight away give a high carb diet to someone that's just started dieting. That would come at a lot later date. The leaner somebody gets, I would be able to give them a lot more carbs. Now, the main thing is when you are dieting, the only way you are going to drop body fat and drop weight is to be in a calorie deficit. So, first of all, make sure you're eating less than what you're maintaining that, and you're burning through either cardio or for training. Then you can manipulate your macronutrients, so your carbs, proteins and fats. So what I tend to do with people to start with is I'll go, okay, predominantly the calories are going to come from protein and it's going to come from fat, and then you're going to add carbs in on the rest. We'll see how your body composition and body fat comes down. As you get leaner, that's when we can start to add in things like cheat meals or start to add in more carbs. But to start with, the majority of your nutrition is going to come from carbohydrates, and it's going to from proteins and from fats. Now, you don't have to eat. As people keep saying, do I have to eat like a bodybuilder? Do I have to eat 5 or 6 times a day? No. That is one of the worst things to do, especially if you're only at the minute having 1 or 2 meals a day. What I would say to do, if you're having 1 or 2 meals a day at the minute, just try and increase to 3 meals a day. The reason I wouldn't really have 1 or 2 meals a day is because you need to keep your blood sugar levels stable. And if your blood sugar levels are stable, you're not going to crave as much. So that's why your proteins and your fats are really good, because it helps stabilize blood sugar and it also helps you keep you nice and full. So try, if you're eating twice a day, try and eat to 3 times a day. Then what you can do is you can monitor your weight, you can monitor your body fat, monitor how you're looking. Then you can try and increase to 4 times a day. Then you can try and increase to 5 times a day. But if you're only eating once or twice a day at the minute, do not try and push straight up to 5 or 6 times a day. This is something that can happen over time. And also, it's not a necessity to eat 6 times a day. That would be if, let's say, for example, if I've got a bigger guy and he wants to put on a lot of muscle, then eating 6, maybe sometimes even 7 times a day, is going to have to do if he wants to put on that muscle. Or if he already eats a lot of food, it's a lot easier on digestion and absorption rates to split over 6 meals a day. Whereas, let's say, for example, I've got a lot of my clients might only be eating 3 or 4 times a day. There's no difference between eating 3 times a day and 6 times a day. It's how well does your digestion and your gut feel on that. You'll still get results eating 3 times a day, eating 4 times a day, and 6 times a day. What it matters is, are you in a calorie deficit? And are you doing plenty of cardio? Have you got your training right? Are you getting stronger? How's your lifestyle? How's your stress management? How's your gut health? All these matter, and it's all about putting all these pieces in the puzzle together. So I can see a few of you are watching. Have any of you got any kind of questions at all, or anything else you want to know? I got a few more questions. I'll just wait for a few more to log in as well. How are you doing, Rory? Okay, so Josh just asked me as well, why am I always tired? Okay, so one of the main reasons that you'll be tired is, once again, if you are having, okay, when a person comes to me, one of the main things that I'll notice is how much caffeine they're having. So what is good about caffeine is obviously it's going to bring you up, okay? So if you're having a coffee in the morning, great. But what people tend to be doing is having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coffees a day. So straight away, what you want to do gradually is just bring that down. So let's say, for example, if you're on 6 coffees, they don't go straight to 0, but over the week, just start to taper it down. So over 2 or 3 week period, you can come down to 1 or 2 coffees a day. Now, I'm a big fan of black coffee for fat loss, but what I would tend to be doing is just using that as soon as I get up in the morning, and just either do that before cardio or just do that before I train. That's a good place to have like a black coffee, or your green teas, or your fruit and herbal teas. But one of the other main reasons is why you're feeling tired is because your food is everywhere. So let's say, for example, you wake up and have cereal for breakfast, or you wake up and have nothing for breakfast. Well, okay, let's say, for example, you have cereal for breakfast. That's going to give you quick energy. It's going to give you good energy quick, but then you're going to come crashing straight back down. Now, remember, for you to have energy throughout the day and to feel good throughout the day, you need your energy levels stable. So if you're having a high carb breakfast, it's obviously going to go up, but then you're going to come crashing down. And you're having that constant fluctuation all the day, and that's why you're going to struggle. By the end of the day, you'll be absolutely knackered. So that, with caffeine, and also, are you training? So if you're not training at the minute, one of the best things to get your body moving and to get everything flowing and working better is just to train. If you're not doing anything at the minute and you're used to sitting down or not doing much, just simply move more and you will feel a lot better. Okay, what is water weight? Okay, so a lot of people say, okay, I'm holding a lot of weight, I'm holding a lot of water weight. Okay, now what I tend to do when people are saying this to me is, first of all, I think it's body fat. I know it's body fat. So let's lose body fat first of all, and then we can worry about what water weight is. So once you have lost body fat and you still feel you're holding a lot of fluid. So, okay, so let's say, for example, somebody has highly stressful job, or they've got like a gut problem, so it could be something like candida, even like stuff like IBS or autoimmune conditions. They might hold a lot of water or fluid around the lower part of the stomach. Now that is only something that you only really recognize if one of two things: either they're struggling to drop body fat, or once we have got them lean, that you can still feel the fluid and it feels like you're almost got a little tire around the bottom of the stomach. But when it comes to water weight, that would only really count once you've got lean. So if somebody tells you in the gym, I'm holding a lot of water, what you need to say is, okay, first of all, you need to lose more body fat, because the more body fat because when you are holding water, where water stores is in fat. So the more fat you lose, the less water you will also hold. So first of all, lose body fat, and then you can see if you've got any issues with water there. So another question I had, which is a good question, is what supplements do I use for gut health? Now, first of all, a supplement is a supplement, so that needs to come after. So you want to look at obviously food, your training, your diet, your lifestyle, all that's going to come first, and then your supplements come after that. Okay, so let's say, for example, you've got everything balanced, you've got everything in check, and then you go, okay, well, what supplements should I use for gut health, or to make me feel better? Say if you're not going to the toilet, or you're going to the toilet too regular, or you've got stomach pains, you feel like you've got brain fog, all these different things. Okay, so what I would do first of all is I'd add some fibre in there, so in the first meal. Now what fibre does, it binds all your toxins and eliminates them through your stool. So that could be stuff like psyllium husks or flaxseed. You can add that to your morning breakfast. You can either drink it or just add it onto your vegetables. Another good way is just adding like your cruciferous veg, stuff like your broccoli and stuff like this, making sure you're adding those in at each meal. Another good one that I tend to get in there with people straight away is probiotics. So I tend to take one in the morning and one at night. Now what that does, it just this increases the amount of good gut bacteria. So if you imagine you've got a war going off in your stomach all the time, you've got a war going off between your good bacteria and your bad bacteria. So you want to try and increase the amount of good guys you've got compared to bad guys. The more good guys you have got, the better your result will be. Because if there's a war going off and there's more bad guys wreaking havoc, that's when you can get stuff like parasites, or you can get all these autoimmune conditions, or you can get a lot of different bacteria or all these different things thriving. So probiotics also a great one to add in. The next one that is amazing to add in, and should be added in if you are eating plenty of protein, which most of you will be if you're doing my plan, is a digestive enzyme. So what a digestive enzyme does, that obviously helps you break down and absorb food. So protein is really hard to digest. So, and let's say, for example, if someone's eating a 250-gram steak at the last meal of the day, that's very heavy and hard to digest, especially if you've got gut issues. So one of the main things you can do is add a digestive enzyme in, usually about 2 to 3 capsules at each meal, and that will help break down and absorb your food. So especially in your stomach, which is one of your first phases of digestion. Now, what your stomach does is obviously that's the main place for digesting protein. So that needs to get the most help. So that's why you need an enzyme with HCl in, and that can help you break down the protein. So we've got a digestive enzyme, we've got a probiotic, we've got fibre. Another good one that I would add in on top of that, this is just your base supplements. These are very generic, but this is what I'd try and incorporate for everyone if I had a choice of 4 or 5. Is a fish oil. Now what a fish oil does is it reduces your inflammatory levels, and it also increases, turns on almost like your fat burning gene and turns off your fat storage gene. So it just makes everything run a lot smoother. And especially if you're on a high fat diet and you're eating a lot of saturated fat and you're eating a lot of nuts or almonds and stuff like this, well, what that is, that there is a lot of like omega-6 in your diet there. So what you need to actually do is to balance that out with omega-3, so stuff like your fish oils. So adding like 3 or 4 or 5 capsules in with this with the morning or with your eels, with your meals is great. And one of the other main benefits of a fish oil is it improves insulin sensitivity. So this will lead me on to the next question actually, but insulin sensitivity, what that is. So the more insulin sensitive somebody is, the better that they can handle carbohydrates. Because what insulin is like a storage hormone and a carriage hormone. Now what that does is insulin shuttles glucose into your cells. So let's say, for example, if someone is overweight and eating tons and tons of carbohydrates, insulin can't shuttle any more glucose into the cells because the cell is already full. So that's when the benefits of like a low carb diet will come in, or a keto diet, or being in a calorie deficit, because then what you can do is your blood glucose and your insulin levels will actually come down. So what fish oils do is they improve your insulin sensitivity, so it improves how much glucose you can actually get into the cell without using as much insulin. So it's another great one to use as a base supplement on there. Apart from that, I mean, there's plenty of other supplements. It depends on when I look at somebody's questionnaire, I'll have a look at what's going off immune system wise. I'll look what's going off gut wise, and everything like that. Then I'll base upon what is actually going off and what other supplements they need. Has anybody got any more questions or anything else they want to know at all? I got asked as well. Okay, so why am I always craving all the time? So this is a question that I get commonly asked all the time, and one of the main reasons why people are always craving all the time is because they are not drinking enough water. So what people usually do, people mistake hunger for dehydration. So what you actually need to do there is just drink more water. So rather than getting up and having like a Coke Zero or having a coffee straight away, one of the best things you can do, or juice or whatever, is just get up and have like just have a full glass of water, maybe add a bit of fresh lemon to it. Then just start to gradually drink more water over the day. Now, don't obviously jump up to 3 or 4 litres a day, but if you're only drinking half a bottle of water a day, just try and add 1 bottle of water a day, or 2 litres of bottle of water. So let's say, for example, then you manage your dehydration, and then you're still craving. One of the next things I'd say is increase the amount of fat you've got in each meal, because this will stabilise blood sugar. So are you eating enough food? Have you got enough fibre in there? So that's why one of the best ways to fill you up and not to crave as much is to go to add like your so let's say, for example, your meals could be like you've got your portion of meat or your fish. You've then also got your vegetables, and then you've got some fats, such as like your oils and avocado. Now this is going to keep you full and give you sustainable energy through out the day. And then let's say, for example, at night when you tend to be craving a little bit more, this is when like a few little hacks can come in. So you can add stuff like maybe a little glass of Coke Zero, then maybe some sugar-free jellies, or you could purposely place your carb meals later on in the day. So you could have that could be when you have your main meal with rice or your potatoes, or you can have like your rice cakes with honey. You can have some oats with raisins, whatever it might be. That's when you can have your carb-based meals. But the main reason that people obviously are craving throughout the day is just because they're not eating enough fibre, not eating enough fat or protein, which obviously slows down blood sugar levels. They're either not eating enough and they're not drinking enough water. So if you do all those things, you really aren't going to crave as much food as possible. So one of the other questions I think will relate to everyone is, okay, so although I am changing shape and I am dropping body fat and I've lost inches around, let's say, for example, on your waist or your legs, why has my weight not come down? Okay, so, well, this is a difficult question. You can split in a few parts. So, so let's say, for example, somebody is you're training, you're lifting weights, you're new to that specific type of training. Well, you're obviously going to put on a little bit of lean tissue, and because you've added carbohydrates to your diet, your muscles are going to get a little bit full. So you're going to hold a little bit more weight. So that's when, for example, your weight might not come down, but you're actually burning body fat. So let's say, for example, if I just did cardio and I did a really, really low calorie diet, yes, you are going to lose a hell of a lot of weight, but that weight is not necessarily body fat. So when somebody comes to me and said, look, I want to lose 1 stone, I want to lose 2 stone, I want to lose 3 stone, I'm like, okay, but what does that 1 or 2 stone or 3 stone look like? And they're not sure. So what you need to think is go, okay, well, what I want to do is I want to lose 2 dress sizes, I want to lose 3 dress sizes, I want to lose 2 or 3 jean sizes, because then you can monitor that, and that's a lot better feedback. Because some of my clients might have only lost a few pounds, they might have lost a stone. But what they have done, because they have done a lot of weights, they have changed the shape, they've changed the figure, and what they have actually burnt, because they've had a sustainable food plan, they've had a sustainable training program, what they have actually done is burnt body fat. Whereas you could lose, like I said, you could lose 2 stone within a few weeks, but all it mainly is going to be is water and lean tissue and a little bit of body fat. So you need to make sure you're not just focusing on weight. The main feedback tools for you should be, how do your clothes feel? What are your measurements? So if you took a measurement around your arms, your chest, your hips, your stomach, your legs, these are all better measurement tools to use. And then try even what I tend to do. I told a client the other day, I said, look, buy a pair of jeans, because we've got a target for a month's time. I said, look, buy a pair of jeans that you want to get into that are sizes too small. That then is also going to give you a target to hit, because you know they're too small and you know you've got to get into them. So it's going to naturally make you work harder to be able to get that. So these are a lot better feedback tools than using stuff like your weight, because especially as a female, your weight is going to fluctuate a lot depending on the time of the month. I mean, I've seen sometimes it can fluctuate anywhere between 3 or 4 kilos. So if you're going on weight and you've been absolutely 100% on your plan, and you've been training hard, your clothes feel good, you feel good, you jump on the scales and it says you haven't dropped weight or maybe even put on weight, you can be very disheartened. So the main things that you need to worry about and to focus on is your measurements. How do your clothes feel? If these are changing, don't ever worry about weight. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. I mean, I've never asked anyone, never on a night out has ever asked me, what do you weigh? What they might say is, oh, you look good, or have you lost weight? That is so much more important than just going on your weight. So, but obviously with media and with these different magazines and forums, you've always been told to worry about weight. But when it comes to fat loss, there's a lot better methods of getting a result than just relying on just going on weight. Has anybody got any questions? Okay, cool. So, is eating carbs in the evening bad for you? No. This is one of the biggest myths going, that eating carbs is bad for you. I mean, one of my guys he's eating 800 grams, 700 grams of carbs a day. On one day, he's eating 800. So, to get that amount of carbs in, you need to spread that throughout the day. Now, when people said eating carbs is bad for you, I don't know where they got this from, but it's one of the biggest myths, because what it comes down to, are you in a calorie deficit? If you're wanting to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. If you're in a calorie deficit, doesn't matter when your carbs are, you will lose weight. Now, the reason I prefer to put carbs in around your training, especially for someone that is new to training or new to losing body fat, is just because it's going to help with the recovery a little bit more. And when what you've got, these little receptors on your cells called GLUT4. Now, what they do is they suck glucose in, but it only happens after training. So that's why you give carbs in and around training to help with recovery, to help with energy, to help with just to help you grow and repair, really. But eating carbs at night is not bad for you at all. Like I said earlier, it's really good to help with like serotonin levels, so it can help you sleep. It's really good for dopamine levels, so it's going to help you just feel good about yourself and to feel good. And carbs are really good for energy and recovery. So it doesn't matter when you get them in. It's what suits your lifestyle, and it's as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you'll still drop body fat. Now, what nutrient timing is, that's when you are timing your carbohydrates, like I just said, around your training. That only really comes applicable a lot later down the line. So let's say, for example, if I had a bodybuilder getting ready for a show, that's when I would really focus on nutrient timing. When you're starting on your journey, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you've got carbs in, you've got your fats in, you've got your protein, you're eating a balanced diet, you're getting plenty of fibre in, you're drinking plenty of water, you're doing your cardio, you're feeling fitter, you're feeling healthy, you're building up that momentum, you start to change certain aspects of your mindset, and you're feeling, and you're focusing on the main things and the main pillars that we just spoke about there. That is all you need to focus on forever. I wouldn't ever worry about anything else. That's all you need to worry about, okay? So carbs, not bad at all. You can eat them whenever. Just make sure you're in a calorie deficit and you'll still drop body fat, okay? Is there any more questions at all? Now, like I said, if you've got any more, anything that you need to know, then just drop me a message, and I'll either answer it this week, or I'll just send you a private message back, or I'll do a video. If it's a lot of people interested in the same kind of questions, then what I'll do is I'll just do a video just to explain it all, okay? Okay, well, I'll leave it there then. If you, like I said, if you've got any more questions, just drop them over and I'll answer them this week. And if there's enough questions, then what I'll do is I'll do it later on, later at the weekend as well. I'll just answer the rest of the questions. All right, cool. Thank you.